Have you ever wondered why you keep ending up in the same situations with different people? No matter how much you try to change, something pulls you back. You're not doing this on purpose. Your mind is just repeating what it knows. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why you repeat patterns and how to finally break them. We don't repeat patterns because we want to. We repeat them because the brain is wired to choose what's familiar, not what's healthy, okay? If you grew up around chaos, your nervous system learned to associate chaos with home. If you grew up around people who weren't emotionally available, your brain now feels comfortable around emotional distance. This is why when you try to make different choices, you end up in the same emotional cycles. See, your brain isn't sabotaging you per se, but it's repeating what it learned early on. And patterns aren't signs of failure, they're signs of wiring. That's the difference. The micro problem here is that you're not broken, your brain is just repeating what it's already learned. Most people think they're consciously choosing who they date, who they trust, and who they connect with. But the truth is, your unconscious is doing most of the choosing. Your nervous system is always scanning for what feels familiar, even if what feels familiar is harmful. And a huge part of that comes from attachment styles. Let's get into this. Anxious attachment is kind of if you grew up with inconsistency, love that came and went, your nervous system became wired for chasing emotional closeness. As an adult, that can feel like being attracted to people who pull away, overthinking in silence, confusing intensity with chemistry, feeling safest in relationships where you have to earn love, and so on. This pattern repeats because inconsistency feels familiar, and familiar feels like home to you. Avoidant attachment is kind of on the side of if you grew up in an environment where emotions felt overwhelming or they weren't shown at all, closeness can feel threatening. As an adult, avoidance might look like choosing partners you know can't get close, shutting down when things feel too real, craving love but fearing dependence, being drawn to people who need you but don't know you. And this is something that can be repeated, the same pattern over and over because the distance feels safer than vulnerability does to you. Disorganized attachment can be described as if you grew up around fear, chaos, or unpredictable behavior, your nervous system learned that connection is unsafe. As an adult, this can look like wanting love but pushing it away, intense, unstable connections, difficulty trusting people, being drawn to highs and lows. See, your brain repeats what it knows, not what you want. Secure attachment kind of looks like if you grow up with emotional safety, consistency, communication, you're more likely to choose healthy people as an adult. But even secure people can be pulled into old patterns when under stress. The micro problem solved here would be you think you're choosing new people, but your nervous system is choosing those old patterns. Here are the most common signs you're in a pattern loop. You ignore major red flags. You're drawn to intensity, not stability. Anxiety feels like chemistry. You sabotage calm relationships because they feel unfamiliar. You repeat the same argument with different partners. You attract emotionally unavailable people. Or like you choose people you feel you must fix, heal, or prove yourself to. These familiar feelings are common, they're learned. You're not alone in this. They're simply learned emotional programs. Patterns don't break through willpower, they break through awareness. So that's where we're getting here. Think of awareness as turning on the light in a room you've been stumbling through for years. Here's how patterns begin to shift. We'll start with awareness. Naming the pattern is the first interruption in the cycle. Number 2, micro interrupts. Choosing one small, different behavior, one new boundary, one pause, one I need time creates a new path in the brain. 3, changing your environment. People, places, and triggers that reinforce the old you must be intentionally limited. Changing your self concept. Number 4, your patterns match your identity. When you change your idea of who you are, your choices follow. So, the micro problem solved here is that patterns break when you stop fighting your old self and start building a new one. Okay, did you hear that correctly? Patterns break when you stop fighting your old self and start building a new one. Let's let that sink in and resonate, okay? Patterns come from unconscious places, and you can't heal what you can't see. This is where therapy becomes very powerful for you and I both. A licensed therapist can help identify blind spots. They can help rewire attachment patterns, teach you to regulate your nervous system, replace emotional autopilot with conscious choice, help heal the inner child that learned these patterns, and so forth. You don't have to repeat the cycles your younger self learned. New wiring is possible, 100%, you guys. If you're ready to break down the patterns you've been stuck in, I linked therapy, online therapy specifically, and books, self help kind of related, that helped me grow personally. Because you're not stuck, you're just repeating what's familiar, okay? When the old pattern ends, your real life begins.